the interactive model, and I left it on the board because the next model that we're going to discuss, it's going to change a little bit, but again, they all have the same foundation. So we're mostly building. Now, don't copy this down in your notes like this because I'm going to change something, and it'll be easier for me to erase something on my board than it will for you to erase it in your notebook. I am going to have a sender and a receiver, a sender and a receiver, and they're still going to encode and decode and decode and encode. But here's where things are going to change. Instead of two arrows, one traveling there, that person getting some information and it coming back, my channel is now going to go in two different directions. Inside of it, I am still going to have my message. The reason that the channel goes in two different directions is that in the transactional model, which represents face-to-face communication, there is no pause. Communication never stops. So in your notes, all I want you to copy down is I want you to go to where you have the blank for transactional model, and I want you to write face-to-face communication. Okay? Now, we're not done yet, because whenever you have a conversation with somebody, there's more to it than just the message you sent. If you look at the bottom of your the previous slide where you had some notes, what you're going to have now is you should have a definition for something called feedback. Feedback is primarily nonverbal communication that you are constantly sending. When I walk into class, I can do a couple of different things. I can walk in, slam the door, cross my arms, and tell you all to sit down. If I were to do that, my message would be, sit down. But the feedback I'm giving you will be in my slamming of the door, my crossing my arms. On the other hand, if I walk in and I say, okay, sit down, that's very, very different. Feedback is everything that you're sending without meaning to send it. Sometimes you do things on purpose. You might roll your eyes at your mom. I hope you don't do that. That's really bad. You might stomp your foot. You might raise your voice. But a lot of times feedback happens without you even realizing that you're sending a message. Okay. There's one more piece to this. And that is going to be what is found in these two circles. Everybody brings to every single conversation their life experiences up until this point. And that is called your field of experience. So what is field of experience? Well, that is everything from how you were raised, to your faith, to your political beliefs. Field of experience is everything that makes you you. What has your life been like up to this point, and how does that affect the way you communicate? For example, if I have two students in a group, and one of them comes from a home that is very, very supportive, or that was very supportive in 2016 of Hillary Clinton. And the other student comes from a home where his family was very, very, very supportive of President Trump in 2016. If I put them into a group and I make them talk about politics, their political experiences are going to be on either end of their field of experience. They'll sit there and they'll probably argue for 45 minutes. But if you look closely, you'll see that you have this section in the middle here. Everyone, for the most part, can find something in common with the people around them. That is this middle section. When you are trying to connect with somebody, when you're trying to communicate, your job is to try to communicate here first. Because if you can get somebody to connect with you in the things you have in common, it'll be that much easier to get them to agree with you about the things that you might have different opinions on. For example, if I put those same students into a group, but if I as a teacher know, I know they have different political beliefs, but they both love animals. I put them into a group, and instead of asking them to talk about politics, I'm going to tell them, talk about your pets. Well, guess what? These two kids who 45 minutes ago might have been fighting are now going to be able to have a 45-minute amicable conversation about things that they have in common. So the next time I put them together, even if they're talking about things that are outside of their field of experience, they're still going to have that connection, which will help their communication be better.